What is up, guys? Dylan back here with another video. This video I will be reviewing Mothra versus Godzilla. I know I haven't done a Godzilla review in probably about a week now, so I need to get back to it. But before I get into the movie review, I just want to say real quick that hey, it wasn't pretty, but they got a win today. It was not pretty. I mean, guys were just swinging everything. We struck out so many times. But I gotta give credit to the pitching was fantastic and kept the Braves in the game. And then in the bottom of the 13th inning, Freddie Freeman with a walk-off RBI single. So awesome. Braves up 1-0 in the series against the Reds. They win tomorrow. They advance. They advance in postseason, where they will play the winner of the Cubs and Marlins. So I just want to say something about the Braves real quick, and excuse me, I just had to close this window. Okay. Now, okay, on to Mothra versus Godzilla. Well, this movie came out in 1964 and was directed by Ishiro Honda, the director of the first Godzilla movie. And this particular Godzilla movie is considered by Godzilla fans as one of the best Godzilla movies ever made. And I would have to agree with that. This is a great movie. A great movie. Even the human parts were pretty good. Even the characters were good. Alright, so the movie starts out with Japan getting hit by a hurricane. And unearths a giant egg. Well, it turns out the egg is a giant Mothra egg. Of course, Mothra has her own movie series. Of course, Mothra is, well, what her name says. She's a giant moth. However, and I know what you're thinking, a giant moth, that's ridiculous. Well, actually, Mothra has been around for many years and is considered one of the more popular monsters in the Godzilla franchise. Although Mothra started out with her own movie before she was put into the Godzilla franchise. Excuse me one moment. That. So Mothra Mothra is one of the more popular monsters in the Godzilla franchise. Sorry. Anyway, so in this movie, we get the first appearance of Mothra in the Godzilla franchise. Well, like I said, the movie starts out with Japan getting hit by a hurricane. Well, it unearths a giant Mothra egg. Well, this egg, it washes up on this island, I believe. No, a village. village. And it gets bought by this greedy businessman. Now, on the human side, this is a story about, greed, corporate greed. See, back then, Godzilla movies back then, they had like some kind of message to them. Like the first Godzilla movie was a message about, the use of nuclear weapons. Because that's how Godzilla was created, was by nuclear weapons. So, this particular movie talks about greed. And so you have this greedy businessman who decides to buy the egg and then hatch it and tries to build some kind of theme park to put the egg in and try to hatch it for profit. Like I said, greed. So, obviously, Mothra, of course, over the years they've had different names. Thinking the Mothra fairies. There's these two fairies. No, they're not the fairies that have the wings behind them. It's just just two twin-like little women, little Japanese women. So they're like I said, they're like I think they're called Shobojin in this movie, but I simply just refer to them as fairies because that's basically what they are. Except they don't have wings. Anyway, so because this greedy businessman has this egg, Mothra is not happy. But Mothra is not an evil monster. She's not. She's always been a monster of good. Of peace. So Mothra is native to an island called Infant Island. And so the fairies, they try to reason with the greedy businessman. Because keep in mind, there's actually two greedy businessmen. You had one who bought the egg, but he didn't buy it with his own money. He bought it with another greedy man's money. Anyway, these fairies try to plead with him to get the egg back, but it doesn't work, obviously. And so all that's going on. So at one point, you had now these reporters, I think they're reporters. Well, not reporters, but they work for a Japanese newspaper. So they want to get the egg back to Mothra. Well, obviously they're having trouble with it. So about 30 to 32 minutes in, Godzilla makes his first appearance. Now in most of the movies in the Godzilla franchise, Godzilla is either portrayed as the hero or anti-hero. But in this movie, see, a few Godzilla movies portrayed him as a villain, as an antagonist. Not many Godzilla movies portray him as a villain, but this is one of those movies that does. So they're getting ready to build this theme park or whatever it is, and then Godzilla makes his first appearance in what is, my opinion, one of the best Godzilla entrances. When Godzilla makes his very first appearance. This is one of my favorite Godzilla entrances. Well, you have Godzilla literally coming out of the ground. Now, granted, this is in like a construction site or something, so it's like a muddy ground or whatever. But still, it's just great. You have Godzilla's tail just sticking out of the ground, and then Godzilla, he's just slowly raising out of the ground. You got all the dirt and mud just falling off of him. and then as he's fully out, he lets out his iconic roar. And so, like I said, they portrayed Godzilla in this movie as a villain, and so because of that, they had because of that, the look of Godzilla movie, I absolutely love the suit, Godzilla's suit in this movie. Because Godzilla is the villain of this movie, he just looks menacing. He looks menacing, just evil, I guess you could say. And so, Godzilla shows up and he's just going on a rampage. He's just going on a rampage, just destroying Japan, and just destroying anything that's in his way. And so these newspaper people had this idea to go to Infant Island and try to get Mothra to fight Godzilla. Well, the island natives and the fairies refuse at first, but then Mothra senses that her egg is in danger. Cause you see, Godzilla. Because when Godzilla sees this egg, he tries to destroy it. So. And of course, that's Godzilla's rampaging through Japan. You have the military, shooting tanks and missiles at Godzilla. But of course, Godzilla's indestructible. No military weapons can hurt him. So, obviously, this has no effect on Godzilla. He just continues his rampage. So then, as Godzilla's getting ready to destroy the Mothra egg, here comes Mothra to the rescue, and this was a pretty good fight. This was a pretty good fight. Like I said, you think a monster like Godzilla facing a giant flying moth, and I can see why some people would think that ridiculous. I can see why people would think that as ridiculous, but like I said, in this movie, it works, man. It was a good fight. It was a good fight. At one point, you had Mothra just flying over Godzilla's head and just wailing on his head. And at one point, Mothra knocks Godzilla down, and so she uses her wings, kind of like a wind effect or something, I guess, to try to keep him down. But unfortunately, this Mothra was, I think that she was portrayed as old in this movie, so she didn't have very long to live, so her and Godzilla were fighting for a little while until she died of exhaustion. But in doing so, before she dies, she lands right next to her egg and puts her wing around her egg, I guess as a way to protect it. And so after that fight, Godzilla just continues on his rampage, and then the egg hatches. Now, first you see one Mothra larvae come out of the egg, but then a second one comes out. So you have two Mothra larvae. And so, as soon as these Mothra larvae come out, see, Godzilla is heading to Iwo Jima. And once he gets there, he's just wrecking stuff. He's just destroying everything. See, in this movie, Godzilla is on a rampage to destroy all of Japan. So the Mothra larvae, they catch up to Godzilla, and so they fight. So they fight Godzilla. Well, now, because of their size, and just because they're in their larvae stage, all they can do is just crawl. They can't fly, they just crawl. But they use that to their advantage. With their size, they can go into they can protect themselves by going into tunnels into these mountains or whatever, and they use that as protection. But as they're doing that, well, of course, you had one larva just biting on Godzilla's tail, and it's just, and obviously it's just a nuisance to him. Although I will say, there is one thing about Godzilla that's a nitpick of mine in this movie they portrayed Godzilla as kind of clumsy in this movie, because a couple times Godzilla just, like, at one point Godzilla just gets his tail stuck in his tower, and then the tower falls right onto him, and then another time Godzilla, like, he, like, takes a wrong step and just falls right into a building. So, I don't know, that was one thing I didn't like, that just a couple times they made Godzilla just seem so clumsy. I don't know, it just didn't sit with me very well. But anyway, so as we get to the end of the fight between Godzilla and the two Mothra larvae, so you had one larva. Now you have Godzilla right here. You had one larvae over here, and then another one over here. Well, both the larvae, they spray their silk on the Godzilla, just continuously, just spraying their silk onto him. And then, at this point, Godzilla's just getting covered in this stuff, and they're just and obviously Godzilla's having a hard time with it. So Godzilla just gets covered in enough silk to where it's just all around his body, and so the way Godzilla gets defeated in this movie is Godzilla, he gets wrapped up in so much silk that, like I said, he's losing his balance. He's like kicking the rocky hill that he's standing on, but in doing so he falls. And because all the silk is around, he can't move his arms. He's like captured. And so, as he's kicking all the rocks on this rocky hill, he falls and then rolls off to the side of the hill and into the water, where I guess he swims away in defeat. I mean that's the only logical explanation, that when he fell into the water, he just swam away in defeat. So yeah, that's how Godzilla got defeated in this movie. Now, like I said, Godzilla was portrayed as the villain in this movie. And in fact, after this movie, he was not a villain for a long time after this movie. So the two Mothra larvae, they saved Japan from Godzilla's wrath. Like I said, Godzilla, he falls into the water with silk, covered in silk, and so his only answer is just to swim away in defeat, which is what he did. And so, anyway, guys, like I said, it's a great movie. It's considered one of the best movies by the fans, and like I said, I happen to agree. I mean, it is a great movie. I mean, even human parts are pretty good. So, anyway, guys, that's it with this review. My next Godzilla movie review will be for Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, where we see the debut of Godzilla's most iconic arch-enemy, the three-headed dragon, King Ghidorah. And I cannot wait to watch that movie again, because that is one of my favorite Godzilla movies. So anyway, guys, that will do it with this review. I will probably make a Tennessee Vols video, probably Friday, since Tennessee plays at 11 o'clock my time, Saturday morning. So probably sometime Friday I will make a Tennessee video. But until then, I will see you guys next time. And I hope you had a fantastic day, and God bless.